And that's it. We control Tokyo. We control Rome. We control Berlin. Not really required for the achievement, but yet. We control Paris. We control London. We are the full Ottoman Empire. We cored everything. So all of the provinces of the Ottoman Empire are back into the Ottoman Empire. Well, this is what I would call a successful Ottoman Empire guide, a successful Ottoman Empire run. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Ottoman Turkey won the last country poll, which I must admit was quite a long time ago. And the reason it took so long to make this guide is that this is a very challenging run, so I worked really hard on it. While fascist Turkey can become incredibly powerful early on, like it often happens with fascist countries, the Ottoman path runs into a series of difficulties ranging from bad and long focuses to a civil war and RNG heavy moments. So what I wanted to make, as usual, is a guide that is consistent, does not abuse glitches, and that any one of you can follow. But I wanted to do more than that and offer a guide that allows you to get one of the hardest achievements in the game. If that sounds interesting, then this is the right video for you. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments and make sure to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. And of course guys, as always, if you enjoy the content I make, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving me a comment. It really helps, and as you can see, a lot of work goes into these guides. But that's all for the introduction, so let's get started. As usual guys, you can find all researches and focuses in the description of the video, so they will not be covered in the video itself. And you can get access to the dedicated spreadsheet by purchasing a tier 2 membership to the channel. So in terms of buildings, this is our initial priority. In terms of military and naval production, there isn't much that we can do. This is the priority, just make sure to add also the MIO to infantry equip. Now we're going to gather our army and then we're going to split them into two groups. We want the larger group to be about 19 divisions, and these divisions will be protecting this border for the civil war. So this setup is already the setup that we're going to use for the civil war. Use a fallback line, something like this, for the larger group, and for the smaller one, a fallback line in here. Like this. We can also start training our amazing air force, and we can gather and train our fleet as well. The occupation law is going to be local police force, and we're also going to create an agency. Now later on we will use the spy on root out resistance in the area of Kurdistan. We are going to ignore trade for the early part of the run, so we don't care about that, and that means that the initial setup is already done. When you complete the first focus, you will get a series of events. Pick no settlements. Then nothing has changed. And then you will always win. There is no other option. So you will get enough political power to pick our first advisor, the silent workhorse. After completing the next focus, you will have the political power to pick the army maneuver genius. And we can now also stop training the navy since we are completely out of fuel. And then as soon as you complete this focus, you have some new special decisions. We're going to pick nationalism right away. And then you can switch to this tab because very soon you will be able to pick partial mobilization. There we go. As we complete this focus, we get some new special decisions. And we're going to pick the very first one, open the Nazilli factory. As soon as you get to 240 political power, you can pick this decision here and then pay off our debts, so we can get rid of the debts entirely. Then, as soon as possible, we're going to improve relations with Spain. Somewhere around this time, you should get this event. It can be a little bit later. We got it very early. It can be no earlier than January 1937, and it should happen within 3 months from this date. Generally speaking, the earlier it happens, the better it is for us. But the focus priority covers all possibilities. Whenever you start getting these messages, always pick the ones increasing stability and popularity of democracy. At 100 political power, we are going to send an attaché to Spain. When you get this event pick, of course, we will sign the pact. And you can now pick this new series of focuses just added with the latest patch. At the same time, we're going to pick republicanism, the financial expert, and we're going to start building military factories in Izmir and in Istanbul. Now you need to keep an eye on this event. You want to retire Ataturk in any case before the deadline, ideally just after completing this focus. And we have a margin of 2 days in this case, and this is the earliest possible. So it should always be possible to retire him right after this focus. Okay, the focus is done. We can now retire Ataturk. But if you're not done with the focus yet, do retire Ataturk earlier if for some reason the deadline is sooner than the focus. We're also going to pick finance the Bursa factory. As soon as possible, we're going to pick republicanism. At the election, you need to vote for the Democrats. Very important. So we are now a democracy, but don't worry, not for long. At 75 political power, we're going to pick one of these new decisions, fidelity. As soon as possible, we're going to start improving relations with China. And as soon as this focus is done, we can send an attaché to China as well. And we're also going to pick increase influence and jihad. At the same time, we're also going to start building military factories in all of the 60% plus provinces. Make sure that the repairs are the lowest priority and the factories you have been building are the highest priority. Infantry equip MIO, and as soon as possible we're going to invest in Malatya factory. As soon as this focus is completed, you will get some random infrastructures, so check the best provinces to build in and see if there is anything new which is good. Like we got these two at 60%, also check them for modifiers. We got good modifiers, so we can build more military factories in here too. Now, if you get the infrastructures in the area here, do not build in here. This is bad. Also, always check for very bad modifiers, like, for example, this one, and try to avoid building in these provinces. Trucks MIO. And when you complete this focus, you will be in a civil war. The majority of your divisions should be on this border. You can now assign them a proper front line, like this. But this is not a civil war we actually fight. It's one in which we rush victory points. So I will show you in a bit how to rush victory points and win the civil war within 1 week. Same thing with the army here. We set them up and give them an offensive line of this kind. We can now give them a marshal, but wait for the generals. You will get an event in a couple of days giving you new generals. We can now right away also pick extensive conscription and war economy. And our goal is to finish the civil war within the 35 days of this focus. You will get this event, pick our old glory awaits. Now you get new generals. We can set them on aggressively execute battle plans, highest motorization priority, and we can start immediately both offensives. So in addition to starting the offensives, we also want to rush the victory points. So we're going to keep these guys stuck, and with the other ones, we're just going to micro them by shift clicking. Make sure they take all of the victory points in this area. This area is the easy one usually. On this side, we will struggle a little bit more. We need to find an opening to get behind the enemy lines and rush Izmir and Balıkesir. We don't care about them pushing from here, so we're actually going to move away from here. It's fine. Okay, looks like we may have an opening here. So with this guy, we want to try and rush the victory points if we can. This guy is also doing great. And that's it. The civil war is over. We were quite fast. As you can see, we had about half of the focus available. So even if you're a little bit slower, you can easily do it. Again, the important thing is not to kill their units. It's just to go behind them and rush the victory points. This is the best way to easily and quickly win the civil war without cheating, of course. You could also change all of your army to 1 cavalry and so on, but we don't cheat and we still do it. Now, after the civil war, we are going back to building military factories in the best available provinces. You probably lost the ones in Istanbul and in here. And from now on, whenever you have free civilian factories, you can just build more military factories in the best available provinces. Just remember to also check modifiers or where you're building. Don't just look at the infrastructure level. And as soon as we expand, do not be shy of building in your puppets or in additional conquered territories in here. We're going to change the production. So this is the new production priority. We add a few new equipment types. We bring down the infantry equip to 10. We now also want to adjust trade, and we will keep adjusting trade from now on. We're going to pick the army offense expert, and we're going to make some adjustments to our army. First of all, we're going to split off the only Alpini division we have. I'm going to rename the divisions in here a little bit. This will be our CAV for garrisons only. This will become our DEF, make them a default priority. And this will be our ALP, and I will make them elite. And we're going to change all of these 19 divisions to DEF. And then recruit enough defensive divisions to make it a full army, which means an additional 5 divisions. At 50 political power, we're going to pick this decision here. This is the tank MIO priority. At 100 political power, we're going to pick the military theorist. We're going to pick the first 2 Grand Battle Plan Doctrines, the second and the third Spirits, and the first 3 Mountaineers Doctrines. From now on to Mountaineers Doctrines will have the priority over Grand Battle Plan. So we want to finish these ones first. Now we also want to recruit the max amount of Alpini divisions. And we want to add to these divisions the support companies. Engineer Company, Anti-Air, Artillery, Rangers, and the Field Hospital. For a total of 45 army experience. As you get to 50 political power, usually after completing that focus, we can pick this decision. And we're going to add support companies also to our defensive divisions, Engineer, Anti-Air, Artillery, and Rangers. We are then going to pick Fidelity, we are going to force deploy everything, and we are going to start training all of them. Right away, you should also be able to pick Modernize our tactics, and then as soon as you get enough army experience, we need a total of 33. We can design our new tanks. We're going for the basic medium tank chassis. Make sure to out-upgrade it. This is going to be our design. Let's save it and let's start producing it. And we will dedicate all future factories to it. As we complete this focus, we can start picking more advisors. We will start with the army regrouping, and then as soon as possible, we will also pick army logistics. Okay, army logistics, and now we can prepare the invasion of Greece. For the invasion of Greece, we are going to split off 2 groups of 5 from the defensive army. We're going to give 1 more to the Alpini to make it a total of 10. Then these 13 divisions will push into Greece from here. And give them an offensive line like this. With the Alpini, we are going for a naval invasion from Izmir. Groups of 2 for the area of Athens. Make sure to send 2 of them here, otherwise this becomes a pretty bad choke point. Then I usually send 2 here and the last 2 here. So something like this. The additional 2 armies we created will push into these islands here and these islands here. Now for Mountaineers, since we're using tanks and not artillery, we're going to pick the left path here. If you prefer to use artillery, this is actually a debatable choice at this point. Instead of making these tanks, you could be just making line artillery, and you would have an advantage, which by the way is interesting for the debate between tanks and line artillery. With line artillery, you would have an advantage in the early stages of the run, so invading Greece, Yugoslavia, Romania, possibly Hungary, Bulgaria, Spain, the UK, but you would fall down later in the run when it's about fighting the Axis. So it's up to you. If you prefer to use line artillery, go for it. Okay, focus done. We got our first claim. It's time for the first expansion war. So, war on Greece. We are going to set our fleet on naval invasion support. We should get Green Sea right away, and we are going to trigger all of the offensives at the same time. Disembarking is usually not a big issue, and we can micromanage a little bit. We need to try and rush Athens as fast as possible, of course, and you can attack them from both sides here. And with these guys disembarked here, you can try to rush the entire area around them. Then as soon as you take Athens, you can plan another naval invasion, in addition to reinforcing these guys up here. So now you should be done with these islands. You can gather these guys back into one army, and you can plan a naval invasion with groups of 1 from Izmir to Crete. In groups of 1 just to make it faster. Now also keep an eye on war support because if you can, you should pick right away war bonds. We can in this case, you need more than 84%, so it's very close, but we're able to. And with the new dockyards and also with the old ones actually, we are going to make some empty battle cruisers. This is the design. The idea here is to use this for naval supremacy. This is the best design for that. I'm going to save it. And we're going to start making it. And as I mentioned, we make it with all dockyards. If you're almost done with the last convoy, you can finish it, but then all dockyards on this design. With the Alpini, you can plan a new offensive in here. And as soon as Crete goes down, the war should be over. So that's done. Since eventually we will be able to core Greece, we are going to annex them and take their navy. Now that Greece is down, we can cancel this naval invasion, we can gather back our troops, and we can prepare them at the border with Bulgaria. Now, Bulgaria usually accepts your puppeting request, but sometimes they refuse, and in case they refuse, we need to be ready for that. We're also going to move our spy on diplomatic pressure in Bulgaria, and we're going to start recruiting another 24 defensive divisions. At 75 political power, we're going to pick fidelity again. At 50 political power, we'll pick this decision. And then as soon as possible, we're going to improve relations with Bulgaria. The spy on diplomatic pressure and their relations should make them a bit more likely to accept. At 25 political power, we're going to pick expand early. And we're going to force deploy and train our new defensive divisions. Now, as soon as you complete the Mountaineers Doctrines, you can change the template a little bit. We're going to add 2 more Mountaineers battalions, and then as soon as possible, we will add the first medium tank battalion. We need 25 army experience for that. Alright, Bulgaria refused. That's far from ideal, but that's okay. It's better that it's challenging in our run. So you will see what happens. Now, when Bulgaria refuses, the run becomes tougher for a few reasons. The first one is that we need to take them down, so we waste some time here. The second one is that we lose their divisions. They have 13 divisions that we would have had on our side if they accepted. And the third reason is that we generate a bit more war tension, which means later on we may be unable to take Hungary. That's the biggest, probably, of the changes in the overall outcome of the run. That's not necessarily the case, so we'll see what happens with that. At 50 political power, we're also going to pick populism. We're also going to recruit, I should have done it a bit earlier, but we're also going to recruit another 3 Alpini divisions, the required amount to bring them to 12. Then as soon as we are ready, we're going to declare war on Bulgaria. And we're going to push right away into Bulgaria. The good thing is that at least we will get enough army experience quickly to add the first medium tank battalion to our Alpini. Let's go on and do that. They are last standing, which is very annoying. That's okay. Again, we can try to rush victory points in here. We're also going to start improving relations with Germany, and we're going to move our spy on diplomatic pressure in Germany as well. Now, on the bright side, at least Bulgaria usually goes down quite fast. For the sake of consistency, instead of annexing them, I will puppet them, because this is what would likely happen when they accept, which is the most common outcome, in my opinion. And so now that Bulgaria is our puppet, we can request for garrison support, and we can get ready to invade Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia can be a bit annoying, so we're going to push with our Alpini from here. And the first push is going to be very important, because if we can get a big encirclement down south, so the idea is to push here, then here, and close down all of the divisions they have down here. That's going to massively help and make the entire war a lot easier. We're going to take 10 defensive divisions and move them to a different army. The 13 defensive divisions we have in here will be pushing from Bulgaria into Yugoslavia. These guys, which are not fully trained yet, will be at the southern border to push into Yugoslavia. And the 10 divisions we split off will lead a naval invasion from here, groups of 2 of the entire coast of Yugoslavia here. So something like this, make sure to move the navy in position as well. Use the freaking trains, motherfuckers. Okay, looks like we are ready, so we can declare war on Yugoslavia. We can immediately check that we get Green Sea and trigger our naval invasion. It's not ready yet. Never mind. So we'll do it in 4 days. But more importantly, we can keep training these divisions. We're actually happy if they push us a little bit down here. What we do want to push, very importantly, is the area up here. So we need to call, of course, Bulgaria into the war. And then we need to micromanage these divisions at least a little bit to try and rush the supply hubs. Now, as you can see, all of the supplies down here are coming through here. So if we can rush this supply hub here, we will put them into a very tough spot. We can trigger our naval invasion as well to apply even more pressure. Just make sure to micro and rush this border with Albania Encircling these units really helps. Here we can use a force attack to make sure they disembark, but actually the naval invasion is also going quite well. Yugoslavia struggles, they don't really have enough divisions, so if you manage your divisions properly, they will suffer a lot. Okay, very much like the way things are going here. We are doing very good. We can now stop training these divisions and get ready to push in here as well. We can now push the entire front. I think they are crumbling. With these guys, we can rush victory points. You can tell when they don't have divisions anymore. We now have the great green color of the Ottoman Empire. Now it makes sense. Now it all makes sense. At 75 political power, we can pick war bonds. And it should now be possible to get a non-aggression pact with Germany. Let's do it. We can now switch our spy on build intel network in Spain. And we can get the naval department upgrade. You just keep spamming last stand, these guys. Oh my god. The reinforced meme is real. Oh, finally. Okay, that should be it. Alright. And Yugoslavia is finally down. We're going to annex Yugoslavia and take their navy. Now, right away, we are going to core Bosnia. It's this option here. We are going to expand these steel mills. We're going to change the production a little bit. We bring the production of trucks to 2. Anti-air to 5. Support equipment to 10. We are going to deploy these Alpini divisions and we're going to make some changes to them. As we are bringing them to a total width of 20.2, 9 mountaineers, 2 medium tank battalions. And we can plan the war against Romania. Now, against Romania, we will use our Alpini divisions to push from here. The idea is to rush the area with the mountains. And then we're going to use these defensive divisions to push the entire border. These other 14 divisions to push from the area of Bulgaria. These 10 divisions will go for another naval invasion, this time from here, along the coast of Romania. Again, groups of 2, like this. Now, we already have a claim on Romania, but the issue is that Romania is guaranteed by France. We don't want to be at war with the Allies, so to get rid of this guarantee, the only thing we can do is we wait for Germany to take down France, which should happen quite soon. There is only one very annoying issue with that, and that is sometimes there is a bug for which Vichy France is formed before France capitulates, and when that happens, Romania remains guaranteed by Free France. Let me be very clear about this. This is a bug. It's not supposed to be part of the game. It's not RNG. It's simply a bug. If that happens and you're playing on Iron Man, you simply cannot take Romania. You need to give up on Romania or restart the run, which is quite annoying because Romania is a big part of the run and it's a land that we can core, so it's very annoying. If you're not playing on Iron Man, you can simply tag, you press tag in the console, tag fra, you get rid of the guarantee, you tag back the Ottoman Empire and you continue the run. It's not cheating in my opinion in this case because it's a bug, it's not something that's supposed to happen. As soon as possible, we're going to pick Fidelity again. Okay, looks like France will go down soon, so we'll stop training the troops. It's okay, even if the mountaineers are not fully trained, it's fine. Now just please don't be bugged. Should be fine, because as you could see, France capitulated and then Vichy France appeared. Let's see. Okay, it's fine. So when it's not fine, this bugs out. France doesn't capitulate, Vichy France appears, then France capitulates, and Romania remains guaranteed by France. In any case, that's very good news for us, and it also means it's time to take care of Romania. So, war on Romania. We attack with everyone at the same time. We call Bulgaria into the war. And we put the fleet on naval invasion support. There is a little bit of RNG as to how challenging Romania is, but overall it will be fine. Now, as we do this, however, we also want to justify a claim on Hungary and on Spain at the same time. And we want to improve relations with Vichy France. Now, what usually happens here is that you struggle a lot along this front, but you push very easily with the mountaineers up here, and the naval invasion will distract them significantly. Oh, very nice that we got this area easily. You can rush immediately victory points. At 50 political power, we're going to pick populism. Looks like we can rush some victory points from here. And there we go. Romania is down. This was a smooth one. Very happy. So we can annex them and take their navy. Now we can immediately core all of Romania. from here. And that's huge. That's a lot of extra factories and especially manpower that we really needed. We are going to start recruiting the max number of Alpini divisions. It should be 11. And another 24 defensive divisions. And then let's give a look at Hungary. Now there is again a bit of RNG. RNG that tends to get worse if you had to invade Bulgaria. But Hungary sometimes, rarely I must say, is guaranteed by the UK before our claim is done. So we'll need to see what happens with that. In the meantime, we are just going to assume they will not be guaranteed, and we're going to prepare all of our divisions to push them as fast as possible. Now, speaking of RNG, we also need what happens with Vichy France, whether they give us this land or not. Oh, very nice. Okay, they accepted. This is the usual outcome, but again, there is RNG. Sometimes they refuse. Of course, it's better if they accept. Even if they refuse, though, you can take them later, so that's fine. So we will welcome them back. We're very happy, especially because we can core them right away, so that's great. We got it, boys. We got Hungary as well. Okay, so this one, other than Bulgaria being a bit stubborn, is going quite well. Just to be clear, though, if they are guaranteed by the UK, you cannot invade them. Just skip to the next step. That's not the case for us, so let's go on and take them down. If you do want to take them down, you need to do it as fast as possible, because there is a small chance that they join Germany. That's why we got a non-aggression pact with Germany. So to make sure that things go smoothly, again, rush victory points whenever possible. And Hungary is down. Now, since we cannot core Hungary, we are not going to annex them. We're going to Balkanize them instead to get the most out of this peace conference. So split them into 3 puppets and then take war reparations and resource rights. One little note that may be worth mentioning now is since we are on free trade, arguably resource rights are not that convenient. I mean, they're good because we get the resources, then we sell them and we get civilian factories in return. But in terms of pure resources, it's not as convenient. So you can also skip on resource rights and then import from them instead. It's a bit less micromanagement as well. Whichever you pick, be happy with this peace conference. And it's time to prepare for Spain. Now, for Spain, finally, there is no RNG. Nobody can guarantee them. They cannot join any faction. So we're fine. So we're going to force deploy everything and we're going to train everything. So we're going to merge the mountaineers in here. We're going to create this new defensive army. We're going to recruit another mountaineer right away to bring the entire army to 24. We're going to request garrison support from Hungary and from the other puppets if they are willing to. And we're going to upgrade our tank to the T2 version, which is going to be this design here. So we can save it and we can start producing it. So now, since we researched the landing craft, we can trigger a naval invasion of 30 divisions. So we're going to use all of the mountaineers and 7 infantry divisions from here to naval invade Spain. Groups of 2. Try, if possible, to make groups of 2 with trained and not yet trained divisions. And split them into these 3 ports to depart. The target will be all of the coast of Spain from here all the way up to Valencia. Groups of 2, when you get to 30, you stop. Okay, finally we are done. All of these arrows are our naval invasions. Now the Alpini will move in position. These other guys, we can send them here. This other army will also support them, so we can move them to Athens. So the newly recruited army will also move in here and be ready to support them. We can use trains and we can train all of them. In the meantime, we still have some time before our claim comes. We are also going to request forces from Bulgaria. We're going to pick the ground support expert. Now, we don't want to trigger the invasion of Spain until our Alpini divisions are at least trained. They don't need to be all the way up to regular, but trained is important. At 85 political power, we are also picking the decisive battle expert. Okay, we got our claim. Now let's just wait for the Alpini to be trained. Okay, they are. We can stop training them. Now, the only thing we need to check against Spain is whether our fleet will be able to get the naval supremacy right away or not. Now, they didn't capture the spy, and this will certainly help. Let's see what happens, though. Let me sure we have it now, then declare war, and let's see if we can retain it. It looks like we can. Okay, sometimes this is not the case. It depends a bit on the spy, whether you're lucky or not. And if you don't get Green Sea right away, what you would do is you would set this fleet on patrol, always engage here, and you put them in here. until this region becomes green. When it becomes green, you switch to naval invasion support, you assign all of the regions, and they will all be green. We're going to authorize the Nuri Kiligil factory. When the Soviet Union demands Bessarabia, of course, we're going to give it up. Want to be at war with the Soviet Union. Everything going according to plans with this invasion so far. Okay, now that the entire coast is under our control, we can rearrange these armies a little bit, and we can send over the additional armies as well. Technically, we're okay with pushing the entire front, so you can also use a Marshall line at this point if you want. As usual, you can rush victory points. They don't have enough divisions to compete with us. As you complete this focus, you can change the occupation law in Kurdistan from local police force to reconciliation. The only problem with Spain is they need to go all the way down. There we go. Spain is down. Now we're going to do something very bad to Spain. I'm going to feel a bit sorry about this, but as the Ottomans, we do what we must. So first of all, we're going to annex the area of Granada. We're going to use it to push Gibraltar without calling Spain. And then we're going to Balkanize them brutally. Not this one, but the smallest ones. So all of these ones. And then the regular one. Going to take the resource rights, the war reparations, and the navy. Very important. Don't forget the navy. Now that Spain is done, it's time to get ready for the allies. So we're going to start building a lintel network in the UK. So we're going to move the entire fleet, including the Spanish one, to the northern coast of Germany, around here. We cannot join the Axis yet, but we can already move the fleet there. We're going to recruit another 24 defensive divisions. From now on, we can use the political power to integrate puppets. Bulgaria is a priority. We can already integrate them because I have been building in Bulgaria. And we're going to start a justification on the allies. So now we need to get ready for the allies. We need the Alpini to be ready at the border with Gibraltar. They will quickly take it and then they will invade the UK. Another full defensive army will support them. I will place them here for now. Later they will move behind them in the UK. Then we will have a total of 48 defensive divisions protecting the mainland. We will use 24 of them at the border with Iraq. Oh, Iraq is at the moment part of the Axis though. That's something to be considered. Sometimes they are part of the Allies. Usually, in fact, they are part of the Allies. So this may not be needed after all. The other ones, we will split off 6 of them and use them on a fullback line to protect these 2 provinces here, while the remaining ones will be at the border here, ready to push the allies. Of course, if Vichy France refuse to give you Syria, the situation here may be a bit different. In any case, you have these 48 defensive divisions to take care of the allies in the region. Puppet troops will be used to defend Gibraltar, so we can move them in here, and ideally we would want a bit more. So let's see how many we can get. We can now request them from these guys as well. Now we got the claim. We're not quite ready yet, so we need everybody at least to be in position before we start. Yeah, okay, everyone seems to be in position, so I think we're ready for the allies. Let's go. So war on the UK, and shortly after, Germany should invite us. There we go. Okay, Germany invited us into the Axis. Of course, this is quite important. Now we can move our fleet into the safety of their harbors. Can start pushing in here right away. Okay, Gibraltar is taken. That's not usually very difficult when you have Spain. So now we can prepare the mountaineers for the invasion of the United Kingdom. Probably the hardest part of the run. We are going with groups of 4 from Dunkirk and from here to Portsmouth. Okay, so this is the final naval invasion plan. Now we're going to use our planes to do a little trick on the allies. We're going to move them in here. We're not going to use them for now, and then we're going to send them to the channel, or actually to here. And then we're going to send them to the channel when needed. For the Navy, we are going to split off all of the submarines. We're going to create a new fleet for them. We're going to split them around into ideally groups of 2 or 1. And later on, when we need to get the naval invasion done, we will set them on convoy raiding all around the UK except for the English Channel. Now, if we fail to get Green Sea in the English Channel, we're going to switch to this area instead. One of the 2 will eventually be green. The only purpose of these armies is to farm some war score for us, although if we can take the entire region, unfortunately actually Iraq is with the Axis, but usually you can take them down and you can core them, which means they will be cheaper in the peace conference. That's quite convenient when it happens. Now, what we also want to do at this point, I'm slightly late actually, we want to justify on Vichy France and on Saudi Arabia. We're completely destroying the Brits in here too. Look at this. Okay, the naval invasion is ready. Now let's see if we get Green Sea. We don't get Green Sea, okay. So to help with that, we're going to set all of our submarines on convoy raiding all around the UK, and we're going to see if that helps. The other thing we can do in here is we can temporarily move the planes in the English Channel, but not keep them in there. So from time to time we will check if they help getting Green Sea. Okay, there we go. Look at this. We got Green Sea thanks to the submarine destruction. We can trigger our naval invasion. We really don't care much about what happens now. The important thing is that we got Green Sea. In fact, happy enough that we can now split these into two, put them on always engage, and completely sacrifice this fleet to support our naval invasion. Make sure that we are successful at that. That's the most important part of the run. Let's see if they are defending. They do seem to have a lot of divisions. But not that many, actually. Or at least not on the coastline. I've never seen them defending so poorly recently. Must say they are not having a great time in general. They are losing everywhere. So we give them immediately an offensive line. We immediately move our defensive units to support them. And we also immediately start micromanaging them. We want to rush the area around London. So ideally we want to encircle the area of London, because they usually spawn a lot of divisions in there. The other area we want to rush is this area here. We want to cut them off from here entirely. Where are their divisions? What's happening with the UK? This is too easy. People will start saying, wow, the UK has billions more divisions. And yes, they usually do. I don't know what happened. Oh, well, I'm not going to complain to have an easy UK invasion. I'm not going to complain. In all of my test runs, this was a lot more annoying. Although there is still a chance they have more divisions up here. Our convoys are getting through. We are getting supplies. Speaking of supplies, by the way, right now they are going through the wrong side. So if we want to fix this, we don't want our supplies to go through here. We can block these sea regions here. And in this way, the supplies... yes, also want to block this one. This way, the supplies will go through Germany and through the channel, which is much, much better. So they do have quite a bit of divisions here, and of course they are sending them back, but we're pushing them very fast, and right now our Alpini divisions are very good, of course. So there is that. You see how the huge Royal Navy is engaging our small submarines, wasting fuel, wasting time with their navy. This is why submarines are really, really good at doing this. Now before we cap the UK, it would actually be nice to get some more score in here, because we only have 16%. That's a bit low. So let's see if we can take some true casualties. No, we cannot. We clearly cannot. The UK even capitulated a bit faster than usual. Okay, 17. It's going to be a bit low, not going to lie, but we're going to make it work. In the peace conference, our priority is to take this area here because we can core it. And here we go all the way down to Blue Nile without taking it though. So this area here. We can also take all of the Arabic Peninsula area. And it would be nice to take Iraq, but we cannot take it this time. Then we're going to puppet Gibraltar, and we're going to puppet Hong Kong and this other place here. And then we're going to annex the Greater London area. We are going to puppet the area south of Egypt, so we don't need to protect the entire border. And we're going to puppet as much of southern England as possible, at least enough to protect the Greater London area. That would be nice. Yeah, we want to leave about 3,000 points for the Navy, so I think we cannot take more than this on this occasion. Perfect. We are very happy with this, actually. Now, before we take the Navy, let's make sure that there are no leftovers of the UK and France. There usually are leftovers, like in this case, here and here. Now, the other thing that is a bit weird is that usually this area here is part of Vichy France, and in this case that wasn't the case, so something got a bit messed up with Iraq and this area here, but overall that's fine. This is an area we can core, but we can take it later, so not a priority. So now we can take the Navy, as much of the Royal Navy as possible. Now that the peace conference is done, let's see if we can take any additional cores, and we can in here, and we can in Egypt. That's great. We are already fabricating a claim on Vichy France. We need to get ready to invade them. For that, we are going to use our mountaineer divisions to invade them from Catalonia. And we're going to use the support offensive army to yeah, that's no longer needed, but yeah, it would be usually needed to naval invade this coast of Africa. So you would plan a naval invasion from the southern coast of Spain to take Vichy France in here. And of course, if they haven't given you Syria before, you would also use your other defensive divisions in here to take Syria. In this case, we don't need to do any of that, so we probably just need to take this part. In terms of the Navy, of course, we don't need to make these ships anymore. We will not have issues with naval supremacy, so we can cancel them. We can make convoys that we can use to decrease autonomy of our puppets, and we can make some floating harbors for naval invasions. We can also bring the production of infantry equip to 25 factories. We can take them from our T2. Okay, as soon as we complete the expand air bases focus, we can pick this new decision here. We can also pick this one. Okay, we're about to get our claim on Vichy France. There we go, and I think we're pretty much ready. So remember, you also need to naval invade this area if it is Vichy France. So war on them. Let's call Catalonia. Of course, they are guaranteed by Germany, but we are in the Axis, so Germany can, of course, not join against us. Done. Vichy France is down. In the peace conference, we would annex this area if possible, and for the rest, we want to Balkanize them. So we are going to split them into several small puppets. It's worth mentioning that this part is not entirely needed, although Balkanizing this area here makes it so that Japan doesn't demand it. And generally speaking, Balkanizing, making many small puppets, means each puppet will research industry focuses, and overall, you gain more out of them than you would normally. They also all create units and your divisions and so on. So that's why we do it. The other reason is more puppets means it's harder for your opponents to justify on them. For example, Italy tends to justify on Vichy France. And if you have 2 puppets in here, they will justify twice. It will take them longer. We also take the resource rights, and of course we take the navy. Now at this point, if you were able to annex North Africa, you should also be able to core it. We were not able to do that, so we'll do it later against the Axis. What we can do at this point is we can get ready for Saudi Arabia. We're also going to make some changes to our defensive divisions, as we're going to bring them to 18 width, and we're also going to add the field hospital. Okay, we got our claim on Saudi Arabia. I love how I say do not change the name and it keeps fucking changing the name. It's lovely. Just don't give me the option then if you just want to change the names every time. Okay, let's wait until everyone is trained. But in the meantime, let's start justifying a war goal on Yemen as well. Okay, we're ready for Saudi Arabia. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to leave the Axis before we attack them. That's generally speaking a bit safer, because if the Axis is at war with the Soviet Union, which they will be very soon, and they may already be if you're a bit later than me, then there is a chance that Saudi Arabia joins the Soviet Union, and that's not ideal. So we leave the Axis, we declare on Saudi Arabia, and we immediately destroy them. Now that we are no longer in the Axis, we can also spy on Germany. We're going to do it in here, where our first push will be. And we're going to build infrastructures and forts in the areas at the border with Germany. Now, in our case, and Italy, in our case, that's only here. But if for some reason you couldn't take Hungary, then I would recommend doing the same along the entire Hungarian border. It's just in case. It's a safety measure. It's not entirely necessary, but it helps. And make it the highest priority. Saudi Arabia is down. Since we can core it, we are going to annex it. And we can core it right away. Okay, now we can get ready for Yemen. Of course, Yemen is not much of a challenge. And I also noticed that Italy justified on us. Yeah, that's for Greece. It's because we are slightly earlier than normal. So we left the Axis and Italy can justify on us. That's totally fine. We were going to justify on the Axis anyway. So in this case, they will attack us, which means it will be a defensive war. It's probably even better. So we're going to get our claim on Yemen slightly before that, but at this point I would rather keep my mountaineers for the Axis. So we're going to prepare the mountaineers at the border with Italy here. We're going to prepare 24 defensive divisions at the border with Germany here. Another 24 defensive divisions with a fallback line in here. They will quickly take Zara and then defend this border. So usually you would have to defend this front as well, which would be annexed by us. And in that case, I would have 12 defensive divisions in here and 12 in here to push Libya. In this case, that's not needed, so we can just use 24 from this side to do the same thing. So the other 24, in this case, we will place at the border with Iraq, since Iraq is part of the Axis, and we will need to deal with that. Another front that you may need to protect is this one if Barbarossa is successful and the Germans start attacking you from here. If not, that's fine. We can also request the British forces. That's quite a lot of them. We can request forces from Hungary. We can request forces from all of our puppets. And all of these additional puppet forces we can use to protect, including the older ones, to protect some additional borders. We will need some of them to be at the border with Italy here, or the Italian East Africa here, since they may push in here. And the other 24 I usually set at the border with Iran, because Iran may be attacked by the Soviet Union and consequently join the Axis. In this case, we already have a defensive army there, so maybe I will set them at the border with the Soviet Union. So the army in Libya, we're going to use it to quickly take Yemen before they move to Libya, since we need to take Yemen. So war on Yemen right away. Let's rush the capital. Yeah. So now that Yemen is down, what we would do at this point of the run is we would start a retake core justification on Italy. That's not needed apparently because Italy is justifying on us, but we'll do it anyway for the sake of consistency. And we can also core Yemen right away. Now, if the Axis does not attack the Soviet Union, and it seems to be the case this time, it may be a little bit tougher than normal. So let's see how it goes. Maybe interesting. Okay, Italy got their claim. Let's see if they attack us right away. Oh, well, I got my claim. So how about that? Let's see who is braver here. Mussolini, you shitting your pants? What are you doing? Okay, let's take Italy. And of course, taking Italy means taking the Axis and being at war with Japan as well. So we go to war. Now we can immediately trigger this offensive here. We can wait here, make sure not to lose the fortified area. We can push in here, I believe. And we can probably push Iraq in here. Yeah, we also want to immediately take Zara. Ooh, I forgot this area. Small mistake, small mistake. Yeah, one of the other areas you need to cover with a few divisions is this one here. But that's okay, we can take it back with these volunteers. Can set a few volunteers divisions in there. Now, the Axis had a very good run so far, and they are not attacking the Soviet Union, which means it's tough. It's tough for us. But it's also tough for them, as you can see. Ouch. So what I usually do with mountaineers at this point is I would start a naval invasion of Italy from this area here, but since we do not control it, we can do it probably from France instead. So let's plan a naval invasion from here to the entire coast of Italy, from Genoa all the way to Napoli. To protect our mountaineers as we do that, let's set the navy on naval invasion support. Always engage, never repair. We do have the better fleet, so we can afford to do that. MIO for artillery. This will be smooth. And we can now start demolishing Italy as usual. We can put the fleet back on strike force. Remember to do this, otherwise it will be completely out of fuel. We need the fuel for our tanks as well. So where's the civil war, Italy? Did you bug my game again? Mussolini? Okay. Good Mussolini, good boy. Don't disappoint me, come on. Yeah, civil war is still not here though, Mussolini. Where is it? Where is it? And I think Italy forgot that they need to have a civil war. So probably there will be no civil war, which is fine. Oh, there is a civil war. Finally. Now, in this particular case, we don't want to transfer territory. We want to keep it, especially because we will need to control Rome to get the achievement we are looking for. Now we can focus on Germany. Now, with our Alpini divisions, the idea is to push in here to encircle as many divisions in here as possible, and then we'll keep the push into southern Germany. Now, this is much harder than normal, though, because the German Reich did not declare war on the Soviet Union, so they have a lot more divisions than usual. And also, since it's a bit harder than normal, let's also beef up our mountaineers a little bit. I think we can afford to do this. Yeah, I'm actually going to switch from free trade to export focus. This is not technically part of the guide, but we are struggling too much with trade, so this will make it a bit easier. At this point of the run, let's also try to integrate Bulgaria if possible. So I'm going to build a lot in Bulgaria. Since we have nothing else to build, I would build anti-air to decrease their autonomy. Then when it's low enough, we can send them convoys to finish that and fully integrate them. His axis at full power is a bit more annoying, but that's fun. That's the challenge I wanted at this point of the run. There we go. Bulgaria annexed and cored. What the fuck is this? Fuck you, no. Stop asking me, game. Oh my god, okay. Yes, I'm so happy to do that. Oh, this is going to be one big ass encirclement very soon. And by very soon, I mean right now. That's so many divisions in there. This will make the run a bit longer, but I'm kind of happy to be able to fight the Axis at full power. Look at these. Ouch. Boom. The Axis army is getting demolished completely. All of their divisions are in there now. Boom. They were in there, I mean. Now nothing is in there. Now usually this is much faster because the Soviet Union is also pushing them. Okay, we're almost there. Finally. There we go. But, well, it was a struggle, but in exchange for that we get 100% of the score. Instead of the usual 60-70% you would get if the Soviet Union joined. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to annex Lazio because we need it for the achievement. We also need Ile-de-France, Brandenburg, although we don't need it, just like to show off. We're going to fully annex this area since we can core it, and we can also core Libya. So we're also going to take Libya. We also need this stuff here, and Albania. And of course, we're going to annex Iraq since we can, and indeed we already cored it. Everything else we cannot core, so we can just pop it. Let's confirm. Let's be very happy with what we got. Because the Ottoman Empire is back, and with this peace conference, we are now also able to core the last two missing provinces, which means the entire Ottoman Empire is back under our control, and it's now our core. This is amazing, but there is one last little bonus for this guide, as if we take Tokyo, we can also get the hardly anything Sèvres, or whatever the pronunciation is, achievement. So we're going to do that, and it looks like we're still fine. Japan sometimes falls a bit early to the United States, but overall it's only 1942, so we're still in time, and we conveniently puppeted Hong Kong and this other province here, so we can trigger our naval invasion from there, and we can send the entire fleet. Now, they may intercept our convoys on the way here and kill some of our mountaineers, and to be completely honest, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we will struggle to get enough war score. All of the score is in favor of China here. So to get some of the score, it's better to have some casualties at least. Let's trigger our naval invasion right away, we don't care. Oh, they even have some divisions. That's quite surprising. And we can rush them down. We need to get like 6% of the score to take Tokyo, and I think it should be fine. Tokyo is down. We got 13%. We got 13% of... That was very Italian. We got 13% of the war score. We're very happy with that. So we need to pass probably one turn or two in any case. But then you can annex Kanto. Then you're happy. You can confirm. And that's it. We control Tokyo. We control Rome. We control Berlin, not really required for the achievement, but yet. We control Paris, we control London. We are the full Ottoman Empire. We cored everything, so all of the provinces of the Ottoman Empire are back into the Ottoman Empire. Well, this is what I would call a successful Ottoman Empire guide, a successful Ottoman Empire run. So guys, it's all for this run. It was a long one and it was a challenging one. There are many little things in this run that can go one way or another. It requires some adaptation, but this strategy that I had for you today is amazing. If you follow the strategy and you're able to adapt to the little changes, you're guaranteed to succeed as the Ottoman Empire, and you're guaranteed to succeed at getting that very difficult achievement. I hope you enjoyed this guide because it was really probably a bit too much work from my side. I spent the last month, maybe even more than that, working on this almost every day, adjusting little details of the entire run. In the end, I think it's a great guide and a fun and challenging run. Let me know in the comments how it goes for you. I'm very curious to hear if you're able to follow it successfully, and if you have any doubts or questions as usual. And guys, a lot of work went into this, so as usual, maybe even a bit more than usual, please show your support by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving me a comment. Any comment helps the algorithm, and that would be great. Other than that, guys, thank you all for watching and staying with me until now. It was fun, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye bye!